Good afternoon, 7th grade Bobcats. Mr. Flato here. Welcome back to what I hope will be another great week for you here at the Helen Middle School. On today's B.O.B Lesson, going to start the first of a 2 or 3 week series on emotional strength. So much of life is won or lost, or is success or failure with the 6 inches between your own ears, meaning your own brain, your own thought process, how you handle yourself. I would love to sit here and tell you that the world is filled with lots of nice and kind and respectful people, but unfortunately it's not. And so much of life is controlling what you can control and responding to situations and other people the way you can, and just basically controlling your own behavior. So on this next series of B.O.B Lessons, I'm going to talk about emotional strength and what emotionally strong and healthy people do and do not do, and hopefully growing in that direction, if you will. So let's get rock and roll on this B.O.B lesson. Hope you guys make it a great week here. All right, we are on to our next B.O.B lesson for the week, and this one's going to be called Emotional Strength Part 1. This week, before we get started, let's be our best at HMS. Let's be safe, let's be responsible, let's be respectful, and let's be a learner. All right, the first of my 4 slides today is going to be emotionally strong people don't need attention. And when I'm talking about attention, I'm talking about mostly negative attention, acting out in class, creating drama in your social circles to get attention. Emotionally strong people don't need attention for validation that they are okay, and that's because they have built their self-confidence to a point where they don't rely on others for attention to feel good. They're good on their own. Feeling unsure of your self-worth is a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you don't know your worth, nobody else will recognize your worth. All right, slide number 2 that emotionally strong people do not do. They don't allow others to bring them down. Emotional strength requires resiliency, grit, and perseverance, and we've been talking about these traits for the last couple weeks now. Newsflash, folks, the world is filled with an abundance of negative people. Anywhere you go, any school you go to, any town you go to, there's going to be a mix of all different types of people. Positive people, negative people, nice people, mean people. And unfortunately, the world is filled with the jealousy and envious people that want to bring you down to their level. And that's a lot of the discussions I have with students in my office is when other people disrespect them, how do we respond to that? Why are they disrespecting? And I'm going to talk a lot about more of this coming up here in future B.O.B lessons. It's going to happen. You're going to come across people that are going to try to tear you down, and whether you let that happen or not is your decision. Have you checked your inner circle lately? Sometimes those that bring us down the most are those that are closest to us, those around us that don't want to see us doing good things. That's why it's so important to keep a friendship circle where your friends are encouraging and uplifting and helping you reach your goals. So keep your friendship circle filled with people who lift you up and not those that tear you down. And spend most of your time in the friendship circles around people that are positive, and limit your time around other people that may try to tear you down. All right, slide number 3 of things emotionally strong people don't do. They don't hold grudges, and I'm going to be the first to admit this is one of my weaknesses. When somebody crosses me or treats me disrespectfully, I may forgive, but I never forget, and it's a really hard thing for me, and this is something that I'm working at getting better at as well. Newsflash, folks, people are going to treat you unfairly in life. Kind of tying to the last slide, we're all fallible human beings that make mistakes, don't handle situations correctly sometimes, and you are going to come across people in life that don't treat you right. If someone does you wrong and they apologize genuinely, accept their apology and move on. We only have so much emotional energy to give in any given moment, any given day, any given week. If you waste some of that emotional energy on negativity and holding a grudge, that's only going to rob the emotional energy that you could be spending on positivity and doing good things and being good to people. If people do you wrong and they don't apologize, move on with your life. It's their issue, not yours, and we need to be emotionally strong enough to push forward and not hold a grudge. All right, our last characteristic of emotionally strong people is they never stop doing their own thing. If you think about it, at the middle school developmental level where all of you are at, The main thing that a lot of you strive for is being accepted. You want to be accepted in a certain group. Nobody wants to stand out. Nobody wants to be the black sheep, because that's a very vulnerable and a lone feeling. Once you get post middle school and you get into high school and you get a little bit older, it's the exact opposite. Being original is cool. Being your own person is cool. And that's why I try to strive to be, and I try to encourage kids at the middle school level to just be themselves, be who they are, have the courage to be who you are. Emotionally strong people do what they do because they believe in it. They love it, and they're emotionally compelled and driven to do whatever it is they do because it's who they are. Now, if that's a negative thing, you may want to rethink that. But if that's a positive thing, like maybe being involved in extracurricular sports or being a student, doing all your homework, whatever it may be, dressing a certain way, having a certain self-expression, because that's who you are. Emotionally strong people are just going to go ahead and do it. The coolest people recognize who they are, and they don't deviate from that, from who they are in any situation. They stay true to exactly who they are, and they don't change that up for anybody. That's self-confidence, and that's a good trait of emotional strength. That brings us to this week's quote of the week, which is, the struggle you're in today is developing the strength you need for tomorrow. And we're off and running on this week's Jellybean Question of the Week winners: Braxton Gardner, Hans Martin, Owen Atkins, Tegan Reed, and Rebecca Wilkins. The answer was 11. Every month of the year has 30 days, at least 30 days, except for February. This week's Jellybean Question of the Week: which of the following words does not belong in the group? Is it corset, coaster, sector, escort, or courts? If you think you know the answer, submit your answer to the Bob Box no later than Friday. Tune in next week to see if you're a winner. Let's make it a great week at the Helena Middle School.